All right, baby. We are live. We are live. It feels good. We'll let it breathe just for a second here, bring on Facebook, and we'll cross our fingers and our toes that Facebook plays ball with us tonight. It's been a little bit ornery, as my grandpa would say, ornery of late, but it's not like there's anything we can do about it. So, welcome in, everybody. It is the Mile High Huddle Podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, dude, weren't able to get together Monday night for the aftermath, but before we get into tonight's topics, which there are many, what a weekend, dude! Give us your, now that the dust has settled. You've had many nights sleep to work out the hormones of the meet and greet and that wild fourth quarter comeback, dude. What were some of your takeaways and vibes from the weekend?
First of all, I want to give a shout out again to everyone who came out to the meet and greet. That was definitely, I think, the best one yet. You guys made it absolutely fantastic. So thank you, each and every single person. Second of all, if you guys can tell, my voice is still a little gone. That's how much I was yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering during that game, Chad. I wish I had a physical ticket so I could frame it. I'll always remember where I was. It was one of the best comebacks of all time. But by now, it's Thursday. I've turned the page to a more difficult opponent, the Dallas Cowboys, who we'll get into tonight. It's good to be back with you, potting. It's felt like forever.
I know, dude. We had fun doing the gut reaction over at Naj Altaf's
Too much fun.
Whatever what do you call it? An Airbnb? Yeah, too much fun. But you always feel like the party pooper when you're like, guys, they're like ready to just be on cloud nine, maybe one or two many adult beverages for them, and they witness something historic. They want to be on cloud nine and rage, but it's like, no. All right, Zack, you were saying, so you always kind of feel like the wet blanket. But let me tell you, we appreciate Naj for letting us come over and hang out with him for a bit and do that episode from his B&B. It was awesome, but it was so cool meeting many of you this time around. Zack, this time I would say, Ronk, what's up, brother? I would say that there were more newer faces / newer names than the last couple years. Why? I don't know. Plus many legends and regulars like the aforementioned Naj, Michaela. We got to meet the Lady D in the flesh for the first time. It was awesome. Like this, don't worry, Ronk, we're coming back to you, bud. Like, here she is, throwing down a massive super chat. We love you,
Deanna.
Lady D. Give our best to also your hubby, David. Says, evening, Chad and Zack. Got home yesterday, had a blast at the meet and greet. Dre Greenlaw, who we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, should not be suspended. The ref pushed Justin Sternad first. He just came to his teammates' defense. Disappointed in the NFL. Loved seeing you all and everyone else. Hashtag MHH for life. It seriously was one of the treats of the weekend, Lady D, getting to hang out with you. First of all, we had dinner and then being able to hang out that day. It was awesome. And we're really stoked for you to get that awesome field pass experience. So lucky. And here she is also gifting 10 memberships in the chat. Thank you for that, Lady D. Hopefully the folks who just got gifted at least a 1 month membership to Mile High Huddle will do enough between now and the end of this month to keep them in the fold and convince them to stick. But Sue's also jumping in because I know, based on the tracking number, that the jersey Lady D donated to Sue after winning at Fairs and Squares arrived last week. So here's Sue, a dear member, a superstar, saying a big thank you to Lady D, Deanna, for the awesome Nick Bonito jersey. She rocks, and so does your podcast. Go Broncos for tonight, and for tonight, go Vikes. Yeah, I forgot about that game. Got to grab my remote. Zack, your thoughts for the Lady D and for Sue?
Well, first of all, Deanna, thank you so much for your generosity. I got to thank you in person, and that was a very exciting experience for me because of all you've done. It's so humbling meeting each and every one of you, but you are Lady D, and I really appreciated talking to your husband as well. Thank you also to Sue for dropping that super as well. It's just more example of the best community chat around, how tight-knit we are. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much.
Zack, I had an opportunity because of Monday night doing the aftermath solo to kind of talk a little bit about the Greenlaw suspension. I don't think folks, unless they're following you on Twitter, which I know a lot of people are, but not maybe everybody in the chat. So tell them your reaction and how you feel about this incident and how the NFL ultimately maneuvered.
Well, I feel like Sean Payton feels that it should have been a fine at most for what Dre Greenlaw said. It wasn't anything criminal, Chad, obviously. It was the heat of the moment, and Dre Greenlaw just saw a referee who was calling ticky-tack fouls against them the entire game push his teammate, and it looked like he pushed him with some force, too. Like you said, the body language looked like Brad Allen was sad the Broncos lost that game, or mad like he had. I'm not going to even go there, but I thought it was ridiculous, Chad. I'm team Dre Greenlaw. I'm standing with Greenlaw. Free Dre Greenlaw. I think he should be playing on Sunday, but they will weather the storm without him.
Ronk, thank you for being patient, big dog. And thank you for being just an awesome member of our community and a huge supporter. He says, good evening, Chad and Zach on the Mile High Huddle podcast. Go Bo Broncos. Hopefully one of these days, Ronk, we'll get you out to a meet and greet because I know you would have a blast. And so would we, chomping it up with you for, a couple, 2-3 hours, however long it is before the game. It's a lot of fun. But thank you, buddy. Also, we have here the Papa Bear checking in. What's up, dude? Great to see David. David has been an attendee at the meet and greets. Not this year, but the time that he came was a special time as well. Special MHH meet and greet. We missed you this time and look forward to hopefully in the future. Here he is on Super Chat and a dear member saying, good evening, Broncos country, hashtag 13 and 4 plus, and hashtag God bless the USA. Thank you, brother. Chris Bell, what's going on, big dog? Good to see you. Thank you for being a member as well. So the NFL, says Chris, suspended Greenlaw. Now they want to fine Sternad for what? Being pushed? Something isn't right here. I think they're feeding a beast. Yeah, Sean Payton today, Zach, was kind of interesting. Yesterday, he was asked about the suspension, his thoughts. Hey, what was your take? Any thoughts, coach, on Dre Greenlaw's 1-game suspension? He's like, well, yeah, sure, but they don't really matter, right? We take it. You focus on the things you can control, then you're on to the next game. Hey, coach, were you supportive of Dre Greenlaw kind of through this process? Quote, well, it was just prior precedence, that's all. Yes, we were clearly in his corner with the appeal, and what normally has been a fine ended up being different. But again, we can't control that, close quote. Last thing, on whether he communicates with the NFL directly regarding Greenlaw's suspension, quote, no, there's a process that's just an appeal. An outside person hears it, and within a day, they make a decision. It's that simple. And he found out, Zach, by the way, about the incident, and then the coming perhaps discipline the next morning.
Well, I feel like, first of all, if what Dre Greenlaw said was so bad to Brad Allen, we would have heard what that was by now. The NFL would have leaked that. I don't think it was that bad to warrant a 1-game suspension. And it seemed like they dropped the hammer literally right after the game. The appeals process was sped up, Chad. It seemed like they couldn't wait to punish a Bronco. And what they're doing right now is they're making the Broncos the villain. And so you mentioned my Twitter account and people in Broncos country. We're going to all lean into that now. They want a villain. We're going to be the villain. We're going to keep winning football games. You're not going to like us. You can try to flag us, but we're still going to find a way in the fourth quarter to pull it out. So that's the posture I'm taking right now. They want to create a monster. They have a monster now.
Sean Payton will try and, harness it as best he can internally with the team. Like, hey, it's us against the world. We're even having to battle the NFL right now. And hopefully it gives them a little bit of a boost, because the Cowboys coming into town, Zach, they're not exactly going to lay down. It's been a long time since they've defeated the Denver Broncos. Dak Prescott, I think he's 0-2 all time against the Broncos. And, of course, the last time he faced them in Denver, Zach, unless I'm forgetting one, was the one where Aqib Talib had a field day. You remember that?
Yeah, the last time the Cowboys beat the Broncos in Denver, neither Dak Prescott nor Bo Nix were born yet. George H.W. Bush was president, Chad. I mean, it's 1992. That's how long. And I think a couple years later was the last time they beat him in general. The Broncos have their number, though, like you said, it's going to be a tougher challenge, at least with that offense, compared to the Giants.
Hey, shout out to our friend M. Blex. He, in person at the meet and greet, informed me how to say it. M. Blex test prep. We got to hang out with him and his pops on Sunday for quite a while, and it was a lot of fun, buddy. Thank you for gifting a Mile High Huddle membership to somebody in the chat. I'm sure they appreciate it, my brother. Hope you are doing well, and it looks like you made hopefully it was as fun of a weekend and experience for you as it was for us, big dog. All right, guys, lots more to get to still tonight. But first, listen up. Here we are. Time flies so fast. Initially, we were celebrating the return of football, and now we're approaching here comes Halloween, and then before that, or then following that, I should say, we got Thanksgiving, and then you got Christmas. But people, it's time to start thinking about what you're going to do for gifts for folks this holiday season. And if you're still figuring out gifts, guys, right here, let me show you. House of Atlas. It's the no-brainer. Perfect for your brother, your roommate, or even yourself. When someone asks you what you want and you don't feel like having to think up a list. Their grooming kits make it simple to clean up, and they actually look as good on the counter as they feel in your hand. Believe that. The razor is weighted, the handle itself, and the precision trim edge make it effortless to get a smooth, clean shave every single time. Something most razors, frankly, don't do. And the best part, you can grab them at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com, so you don't have to overthink it.
That's right, guys. Atlas is redefining men's grooming with premium tools and products designed to look good, feel good, and actually perform. I love the razor because it feels solid in your hand. It's not flimsy like disposable razors, and the precision trim edge makes detailing under the nose, the sideburns, and edges simple and precise. Beyond the shave, the shaving cream and aftershave elevate the routine with their refreshing and subtle signature scent, making grooming feel more like self-care than a chore.
It's great stuff, guys. This is the calming aftershave. This is the precision shave cream, and it smells really good, and it feels nice. So don't stress over last-minute gifts, guys, or settle for shaving products that do not deliver. This holiday season, give yourself or someone on your list the upgrade they deserve with House of Atlas. Again, grab it at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com. All right. Back to the chat we go with Tucson Phil. Great to see you, big dog. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being with us tonight and the support, as always. It says, good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. On to the Cowboys. It is going to be really hard to match the excitement of last week. So how about we just play 4 full quarters and take a win? Hashtag Buckham MHH for life, Broncos for life. I know, dude. If we could just, like last week, Zach, the defense inexplicably decided to get real leaky. You saw a couple of just wide open touchdowns. You're going, what? And then not only that, of course, the defense got supremely unlucky with that one tip pass that the tight end caught and took it to the house. So, it giveth, it taketh, do the football gods, because also, Zach, the Broncos got a tipped one from Troy Franklin, which was just a great heads-up play that was a touchdown. But I digress. This Cowboys offense, Zach, is the truth. It's kind of the quintessential unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. Which one is going to give?
I'm reading some of the comments about shaving. It's pretty funny. In terms of the game, I'll give away what I have coming out, at least a little bit, in the roundtable article, my prediction. If the Broncos play like they played against the Giants and the Jets, they're going to lose this game. If they play like they played against the Bengals, for the most part, minus the penalties, they're going to win this game. And I actually did pick the Broncos to win this game. Might be stupid. I was following my heart. They're on a roll right now. They're at home. They have the Cowboys track record, their number historically, but they can't commit those penalties. They can't wait till the fourth quarter to get it going, Chad. They can't shoot themselves in the foot. They need a full 4-quarter game.
Well said. We've got Gene William in the house, and he's got an updated profile pic, which is awesome, dude. It was great to hang with you, seeing you and the old man, and, of course, all the boys. Jimmy, and I forget your buddy's name that came along with. He looks like, what's his name? He looks like John Belushi, honestly, a bearded John Belushi. Anyway, great to see you tonight, buddy. What's up, boys? Good to see you all again. Watching the Chargers game at work right now. Hopefully we can hold the 1 spot. Yes. So right now, Zach, the Broncos sit in first place in the AFC West at 5-2. Chargers are playing right now against the Vikings. They're 4-3. The Chiefs are 4-3. This is the first time since Gary Kubiak's final season, 2016. The Broncos have been 5-2 this deep into the season.
And this is a game where I feel like the Broncos should be favored to win. We talk about games they have to win, stacking wins against inferior teams. This Cowboys defense, Chad, as we'll get into, is so beatable. If there's ever a game for the Broncos offense to break out, we've seen the Broncos defense break out this season. We really haven't seen the explosion, 40 points or whatever. That could come on Sunday. This Cowboys defense is that exploitable.
It's bad, and we'll do the head-to-head here in a few minutes, and you guys can see for yourself that as good as their offense is, their defense is equally bad. Yep. George Fox, what's up, brother? Great to see you. He says, I'm so glad that you all had a great time. And then one of the best comebacks. What a game. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Thank you, brother. And yeah, that was kind of the cherry on top. And kind of like Zach, Bo Nix admitted after the game that he had some thoughts before the Broncos made their comeback. He had some thoughts going, man, what am I going to say at the podium if we get shut out? I won't lie, and I will admit as well that it was while I was sitting there in my seat watching this putrid performance on really all sides of the ball up to that point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, hey, we started 3-0 on the meet and greet. We lost last year. It's looking like we're going to lose big this year. What can I say to keep people's chin up? And, what does that mean for MHH, Juju, and all that stuff? And then, boy, oh boy, that thought process just went up in smoke because Bo Nix said, not today.
It's crazy how the game flipped. I remember the offense getting booed off the field in the second half, and then they slowly mounted that comeback. And I harken back to what Bo Nix said after the game to a reporter. He was being interviewed. He said, I kind of feel bad for the people who left early. I'm so glad I didn't, chat. I never would if I paid for a game and I want to see it all. But no one anticipated that sort of comeback. And I still think, I know it's maybe off topic, but DT was with us that day.
No doubt. It was just... yeah, I mean, that's the other aspect is we got to celebrate the Super Bowl 50 team plus this especially cherry on top, DT's enshrinement in the Ring of Fame. That was very emotional. David Youngkin, what's up, brother? Great to see one of our dear members and superstars here tonight saying Broncos can't go 3 quarters without scoring and expect to win it in the fourth. It's true. I mean, if you look at their past 3 games, all right, the first 3 quarters of the Philly game. So that's 3 out of 4. I would say basically 4 out of 4 of the Jets game. I mean, it's not that they were completely dead. They weren't shut out. So I guess it's hard to say 4 out of 4, but let's just say being kind, 2 out of 4 in the Jets game and then 3 out of 4 in the Giants game. It's like, Sean Payton, you're supposed to be the offensive guru, boy, whiz, wonder, all that stuff. And it's just not coming out in the wash. And one of the most frustrating things, and in fact, our dear friend Naj got into a little bit of trouble because of his observations on this point. I'm not going to spill his beans, but people didn't take kindly to him, let's just say, emphasizing from the stands, run the ball. What I was also saying from where I was sitting, Zach, was enough with the screens, enough. Oh. And Eric Trickle did a really good job this morning, actually, in an article. Guys, I highly recommend reading this, explaining why the screens aren't working. The Broncos are up there at the top of the league in the number of screens being called. Their efficiency is amongst the lowest. Why? And that's because, Zach, in order for the opponent's corners and linebackers, also safeties and whatnot, to basically get burned by screens, they have to fear the middle of the field on one level or another. And that's either got to be through the run game or actually utilizing and working the middle of the field in the pass game, which this season in particular, Zach, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to capitalize on the middle of the field. So it's really easy for the opponents to go, well, we know what they're going to do. They can't work the middle of the field. We'll kind of believe the middle of the field stuff when we see it. So for now, we're just going to shade to the edges. And so when they all of a sudden throw a screen out to the edge, we're there, boom, easy. And there's not been an effective counterpunch.
I don't have a problem with running a screenplay, but you don't have to run 10 or 11 a game like the Broncos were. You don't have to throw one on the goal line on, 3rd or 4th and goal, chat. I mean, the play calling was still so head scratching, but it's also, if you watch the film, execution. It's not just the play calling. Sometimes the yardage is there. Even Bo Nix would tell you the same thing. The running back's not seeing it, or Bo's not leading the running back or the receiver, what have you, or the tight end where he should be. So the coaching and the execution have to be better, but Sean Payton has to know when and when not to call a screen, point blank.
And by the way, people who are complaining about, like Ralph here, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, big dog. Sternad supposedly getting a fine now. Look, if you ask me, and I'm going to be as kind, what I'm about to say, the kindness of it, the benefit of the doubt of it, stretches to that ref and to the Broncos. The Broncos had just executed the most mind-blowing 33-point comeback in freaking league history for the fourth quarter. And the kick was good. Will Lutz, right? They stream onto the field excited. It just so happens that Allen, the ref, is kind of stuck in the middle right next to where the kicks were. So as the players came pouring onto the field, they're excited. Sternad kind of makes contact with him, not in any Zach kind of meaningful way, like where he was trying to do it, or let's be frank, in any kind of way that may have hurt the guy. It was incidental at best. The guy goes, "Whoa," with like stink face, right? Like his vibe about him, as you mentioned earlier, I talked about earlier this week, was totally like, you know what, this was not what I wanted to see, the Broncos winning, whatever. Or it could just have been the irritation of kind of being in the middle of the swarm when it happened. But Dre Greenlaw didn't like that, so he kind of chased him and hollered at him. If that league finds Sternad for that, it was completely incidental. This was not on purpose in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. If you look at the tape.
You know what? If you've watched referees during other game-winning celebrations, they're supposed to be neutral. And then I understand there's a scrum going on, but you can have a smile on your face, or at least a neutral look on your face. And like you said, Chad, it was a stink face. Now compare that. If anyone watched the Monday night game, the Seahawks game, the field judge on the sideline was literally shielding Jackson Smith-Njigba, the Seahawks receiver, from getting in the scrum. He was literally going out of his way and sacrificing his body to protect him. Contrast that with the look of the head referee's face when the Broncos made an historic comeback. I'm not going to say the words, but with everything going on with the NBA today, Chad, it makes you wonder. That's all I'm going to say.
I know. It's just weird. And so the NFL needs to kind of, in my opinion, pull back off this a little bit. Like, okay, message sent, Dre Greenlaw, the Sternad thing, man, that was obviously incidental. Greenlaw, whether he was justified or not, chose to follow and holler at the ref. Sternad, that whole thing was incidental. Chris Bell jumping in again, brother. Thank you.
Thank you,
Says, I like the concept of being the villain. In the end, just need to put it together. I wonder if we're hiding things to not have a lot of tape on us for the Chiefs in the playoffs, and they're covering it up. No. If this were August football, yeah, but these games count, baby, and you can't really hold things back. I mean, that's kind of the general thing. Now, that doesn't mean, Zach, that there aren't going to be plays and epiphanies, kind of like one of those plays against the Giants last week was installed on Friday because Sean Payton saw something on tape from the Giants, and he goes, you know what, we got to work this wrinkle in because it might come in handy, and it did, which was that last Cortland Sutton catch, I believe, that set up the field goal, so the game-winning field goal. But nevertheless, hey, we can maybe hope and believe, but I don't think it's that, Chris. I think it honestly is kind of a disconnection up to this point of the play calling. First of all, the design, the in-game play calling, because there is a rhythm and a rhyme and a reason to all that once you get past the first 15 to 20 pre-planned plays, and Bo Nix executing it. I'm not saying that to say that Bo Nix is doing anything wrong. What I'm saying, or that he's bad or whatever. What I'm saying is Bo Nix and Sean Payton, obviously, Zach, they're getting their wires crossed a little bit because it's still looking so clunky, and we're basically halfway through the season.
I found Peyton's answer kind of funny when a reporter asked him, do you mind installing a play on a Saturday before the game? He goes, no, I've installed a play at halftime before. So that kind of coach Peyton is. Cortland Sutton called him a mad genius with coming up with plays. And I think he did save that Bo Nix design run, which to me was shades of Steve Young, Chad, the famous, design run that he had in the playoffs. So I do think we haven't seen the entirety of Sean Payton's bag, the depth of it, but he's not saving anything for the postseason or anything like that.
David jumping in again to say, and I don't blame fans for thinking this, just again, based on body language. Okay. Brad Allen, that ref, says David lost money on the game when the Broncos won. Now, we got to be careful, Zach and I, saying things like that. I'm reading a super chat here. This is a member comment. This is not me saying this. Okay, world. Here's a better way to put it. I understand why some people might wonder about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to touch that, David. But it wouldn't surprise me if that came out, Chad, considering if you also guys look into Brad Allen's history as recently as last season, some of the things that his crew were involved with in terms of the game, it wouldn't surprise me if that came out. Not saying it will, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Chris is saying that comment about, are we hiding something or saving it for so it's not on tape for the Chiefs? He was trying to say, I was meaning that as a joke. That was meant to be funny, LOL. I mean, if we're hustling, okay, they're doing good at it, but I think they just need to work on that relationship better, the coach QB thing. Yeah, and I just think Sean Payton has to. We talked, Zach, about this in the gut reaction. I talked about it again in the aftermath. A lot of the shows on MHH this week have emphasized it, but just the whole understanding why the tempo thing helps Bo Nix as the coach, and then figuring out ways to be smart about utilizing it without being up against the clock. In other words, work it in here and there. A couple possessions between the first and third quarter, couple 2-3 whatever, where you're going tempo. Utilize it a little bit and try and get Bo Nix in a rhythm. Try and get the players around him more in a rhythm, and then kind of come back to it. If you're doing it that way, it also helps kind of keep the defense guessing, Zach. But clearly, tempo works for Bo Nix. Now, you can say, it's a cop-out. Of course, tempo works. It makes things infinitely easier on any quarterback under the sun, especially young quarterbacks, because they're not having to think as much, and it's just flash, bang, go, react, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. That's the point. Yeah, utilize that more because something's got to give. This offense is like one of the most frustrating things we've seen, and it shouldn't be that way. We all know how good Bo Nix is. We all know how smart and proven Sean Payton is as a play caller, and the talent around them, guys, is there.
This might sound naive on my part, and I try to be a realist, but I think the Giants game was a wake-up call for Bo Nix and Sean Payton. They're answering differently this week, Chad. If you look through the quotes that we get, the transcripts, it's just different kind of answers, and I think it got through. They were that bad against the Giants for 3 quarters before they woke up. They were literally booed off the field. It was Tebow level when they weren't winning in that season, bad, and they can't wait to the fourth quarter to get it going.
Sam Bam, my brother, with a generous super chat. Thank you, big dog.
Sam.
You are a prince. We love you. He says, evening, guys. Looking forward to the game on Sunday. That's right. I'm sitting in the third row in the end zone to the left of the goal post. Sick. South stands or north stands? Broncos have won their last 3 games by a combined 7 points. I think they're due for a double-digit win. Go Broncos. Look, if the Broncos, Sam, we all know this. That's part of why we're all so frustrated. Despite being 5-2, the Broncos have eked out 5 wins, and they're yet to even come close to what we believe, anyway, is them firing on all cylinders. So what would it look like if they were firing on all cylinders? Right. The closest intimation we've gotten to that, Zach, was the Bengals game. And even then, there were some imperfections in that, still, I mean, it was a big, huge win. Nevertheless, when these guys finally put it all together, the defense, there's been enough sample size this season, Zach, for me to go, okay, they just had a down game last week. I'm not looking at that Giants game and those weird, leaky, big plays and going, something stinks in Amsterdam or whatever. I'm going, hey, every player, every unit, every once in a while, you're going to get a step back game. I think the defense, even though this is a tough opponent, I think you see a big bounce back. Now, what if you combine that bounce back, Zach, with the offense finally answering the bell and putting up points in the first, points in the second, points in the third, and so on?
We've seen only glimpses of that when the team comes together, when they're firing on all cylinders, the fourth quarter of the Eagles game, the fourth quarter of the Giants game. And it's a beautiful sight to behold when it all works. It's just so inconsistent. Like you said, we can trust the defense 100% at this point to be their best every week for the most part. We can't trust the offense to do that just yet. What I will say about this game, though, the Cowboys offense is so good this season that they're going to get theirs against the Broncos. As good as the Broncos defense is, the Cowboys offense is good too. The Broncos are going to have to score points if they want to win this game, and they can't wait until the final frame to get it going.
All right, Mr. Producer, what do you think? Like a couple minutes and we'll do the head-to-head. All right, guys, I'm going to grab a couple of member comments here for folks who have been in the chat being patient here. Let me see. Ronk says, pardon me, Mailman Ossendorf jumping in saying, I had such a great time chopping it up at the MHH meet and greet. Dude, that was so fun. We'll listen later. Such an epic ending. Time to take it to the Cowboys. Let's keep the streak alive. It was great to meet your wife as well. We put some pictures up from the meet and greet that are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We put them in the YouTube community tab. So go check that out. I know there's one of us posing with you there, mailman. So, dude, thank you for making that trip. It was great to hang out with you, big dog. And thank you for being a member and a superstar. Chris Bell again.
Thank you, Chris. Wow. Thank you.
Top rope, though. Top rope super chat. Dude, legend, saying, like Zach says, let Bo be.
Let Bo be Bo. He's not Breeze. Let him play and open up. Agreed.
Take it, Zach.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that generous super. That's definitely humbling, and you've been incredible this pod, and you're becoming a foundational member of the podcast. And I think it's a common refrain. I don't think it's anything too crazy. Sean Payton has to have that moment with himself where he realizes he's not going to be Drew Brees. He can be Bo Nix. He can have a different trajectory. He can have a different career. Doesn't mean he's going to be less than Drew Brees. And when he finally gets that through his head, we're going to see more consistent results. Hopefully it starts on Sunday. Thank you again, Chris.
Dude, so generous. Love you, bud. We also got Flying Anger Pig in the hizzy, rocking his pick from the meet and greet, dude. Awesome, brother. It was so cool to meet you and your boys, hang out like that for a couple hours. And you're a lot of fun. He explained to us where his handle comes from. It's not just some random like video game handle. It's actually pretty cool. Once you know this awesome dude. He says, I had a great time meeting you all. Do you think the suspension of Greenlaw and the fine on Sternad, will the defense be more motivated? Also, I'm worried Pookie might play motivated. Let's go offense, please. MHH for life. Yeah, dude. All right, let's start with the first thing, Zach. Is this stuff that's happened to Greenlaw and may happen to Sternad, is this going to spark the defense?
Oh, well, I thought all the trash talk with the Giants and the Giants fans last week would spark the Broncos offense, and it took 3 quarters and a 3 touchdown deficit to do that. But I think based on the way the Broncos are talking right now, JFM gave an interview today, and he said the Broncos are America's team, not the Cowboys. They are realizing, Chad, like I said earlier, they're the villain. They are becoming either the martyr, depending on if they win or lose, or the villain. And I think they're leaning into both extremes.
I remember at the peak of the Peyton Manning era, I'm going to forget how the polling was done, but there was official polling done where people were randomly contacted. Who's your favorite NFL team, or what team do you think of when you hear the phrase America's team, whatever. And it was the Broncos outpacing the Cowboys. Now, again, peak of Peyton Manning on the heels of Tim Tebow. So we had a little window there where we could rightfully say the Broncos were America's team, but we all know that phrase originated with the Dallas Cowboys. And Sean Payton, he gave Pookie his props yesterday. Very happy for him, proud of him. And Zach, I mean, he's playing well. Ranks. We're going to go through it here in a second in the head-to-head, but ranked second in the NFL behind only Jonathan Taylor in rushing.
Yeah, he's playing fantastic. I'm really happy for Javonte that he found a niche in Dallas. I don't think, though, it's too much to worry about for Denver's defense. They don't really struggle against power runners that much unless they're like Derrick Henry. They struggle with speed runners like Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. Javonte, the one thing he is not very fast. I think they'll be able to contain him, Chad. Singleton will be starting, and Sternal will be starting for Greenlaw being down. Both of them, at least, are good tacklers. They'll be in the box hitting Javonte.
I mean, even we're going to do the meet and greet, or the the head-to-head. But even last week, okay, real quick, last week, what kind of runner is Scadaboo? He's more of that power guy, right? He's not the shifty zone guy, the streaky dude. With the exception of one play, they pretty much kept the lid on Scadaboo. He carried it 16 times for 60 yards, 3.8 average. And I expect it to kind of look like that, Zach, against Javonte. Maybe even fewer yards than Scadaboo was able to get on the Broncos last week. All right. With that said, Mr. Producer's got it queued up for us. Let's do it, Scott. This is the week 8 head-to-head. Green signifies a top 10 statistical ranking. Red means, of course, bottom 10. And the Broncos sit at 5-2. The Cowboys have one of those irritating ties on their record, so they're 3-1. I think they have they won on the road this year? I'm not sure, but we look at the actual general overhead here, and the Broncos in the turnover differential are still -2. That means they've given it away 2 times more than they've taken it, whereas the Cowboys are a perfect 0. Perfect in the sense that, I guess it isn't perfect. That was the wrong word, but this deep into the season, hey, they'll take it for being 3-1. They're 0. Now, time of possession, the Broncos are surprisingly just outside the top 10 for how much they punted last week, Zach, in particular. It's kind of surprising that they've maintained this or gained, I should say, this time of possession standing, whereas the Cowboys rank 21st. They're not possessing the ball for even quite half the game. So we look at these offenses here. The Cowboys, guys, you're going to see a lot of greenery. First place in yards, second place in yards per play, second in points. They're averaging, Zach, 31.7 points per game. That is legit. And there's enough sample size now with the season, right, that you can sink your teeth into this. There are some takeaways and implications that are genuine. They're not statistical outliers. However, despite Pookie being second in the NFL individually as a rusher, they rank as a team 13th. Second, though, in passing. That's net passing. Dak's been picked off 4 times. All right, that ties for the 13th most, 13th fewest. I don't know. Fumbles lost 2. That's tied for the 6th fewest. Giveaways 6 total. They've only been sacked 8 times, so the same as Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been a hard guy to get down. This year, Zach, he's, for whatever reason, even as a second-year guy, he seems to be a little bit, maybe I'm off on this, but he's been going down more often than I expected him to. But the Cowboys, 3rd down, 7th, red zone 9th. Now you look at the Broncos, their only greenery here is rushing, sacks allowed, 2nd fewest, tied with the Cowboys, and red zone. They're 6th. But look at that 3rd down, Zach. Punt, 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 punt. This 3rd down thing can be solved if you simply, it sounds easy, it's easier said than done, but if you can be more efficient on 1st and 2nd down, you'll be better on 3rd down, odds are.
Man, one day the Broncos will have all this green on their side, on their offense, Chad. That'll be the day. But at least they're 6th in red zone percentage. They're scoring consistently when they get down there. For the Cowboys, though, really where they're winning, Javonte is playing well. I think the Broncos will contain them. They have 2 fantastic receivers, though, in CeeDee Lamb and also George Pickens. Pickens will be matched against Riley Moss more than likely. That is a little bit of an iffy matchup. They also have Jake Ferguson, a really dynamic tight end. He'll be on either Hufanga or Alex Singleton. That's not a great matchup. So, like I said earlier, the Cowboys are going to get their yards. They're going to get their points. It's up to the Broncos offense to match that.
As Ronk says, Ferguson is a problem for the Broncos because they're not good against tight ends. Last week was really the worst it's been this season, Zach, for tight end production. But it took also a really kind of outlier type of play on that tip for it to really go into the stratosphere. All right, let's look at these defenses. As I mentioned, as good as the offense is for the Cowboys, the defense is equally bad. We're talking about dead last in yards per game allowed. 400, guys. 401.6 yards per game, dead last. Points, they're giving up 29.4. So, basically the Cowboys are putting up heck of points because they have to, dude. Rushing, they're giving up almost 150 yards per game. Passing, quickly approaching 300 per game, dead last. They only have 3 picks, but that's one more than the Broncos have for what it's worth. 3 fumble recoveries give them 6 total takeaways. Broncos only have 5. That's been the kind of fly in the ointment for Denver thus far. 15 sacks, ranks in middle of the pack. They suck on 3rd down, dead last, giving up more than 50% of 3rd down conversions, 24th in the red zone. The Broncos, again, everything is green, meaning everything is top 10 with the exception of takeaways. The Broncos, Zach, you can see how powerful it can be a takeaway and how it can swing a game. Last week, not enough sand in the hourglass if Justin Sternad does not get that interception. So you can see how important they can be to determining wins and losses. But Zach, your thoughts on these two defenses head to head?
We know how good the Broncos defense is. I wish the takeaways would start coming. Sternad made an incredible interception. That literally probably won them the game. But look at the Cowboys defense on third down. More than half of the time, you are going to convert against them. And two-thirds of the time, you're going to convert in the red zone against them. That is so brutal. The Broncos, like I said earlier, if there's ever a breakout game on their schedule, if they can't get it going against this defense, I might be willing to push the panic button, Chad.
All right, we look at these special teams units. I mean, the field goal percentage at this stage is the only thing, and it's top 10, but that still Will Lutz has missed a kick, one field goal that he's missed. Although I'll give it to him, baby. When you had to have it last week, it was right down the gooch, as our friend Brandon likes to say. But for Zach, all the hay that was made over Darren Rizzi coming in as special teams coordinator. Once again, you're either in the bottom or you're like barely treading outside the bottom, middle of the pack in all the key categories. But I will say this, they modestly improved their punt and kick against coverage units. And that was without JT Grazak being active. But you look at this last week, you look at the Cowboys, their kickoff against, very good. They're 100% on field goals. Penalties. Look at these two teams, Zach. Two of the three most penalized teams in the NFL are playing on Sunday. And also, as you can see from the number of opponent penalties committed for both teams, refs love throwing the flag against the Denver Broncos and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, even after the game ends, as we found out in that Dre Greenlaw video, Chad, literally like the game's over and he's throwing the flag on the field. But if it better not come down to a field goal, they have probably one of the best kickers of all time already in Brandon Aubrey, the Cowboys do. They cannot allow it to be that close game like we've seen so many times this season.
All right. There you have this week 8 head-to-head against the Broncos and the Cowboys. It's going to be a fun game. Stoked for Sam, who's going to be there. My folks will be there as well, celebrating early their anniversary, so that's cool. Roger, the string guy. This is the kind of thing I was afraid would happen when the NFL introduced sports betting, and if it continues, fans will walk away. It is kind of weird. Like, Zach and I are really nerdy Sopranos fans. And, we're talking late 90s, early 2000s, kind of the last gasp era-wise of, what do they call it? Is that La Costa Nostra, the mob? Yep. All right. And back then, the majority of their money was made on sports betting and gambling. And now it's legal, which is crazy. And who knows? String Guy is saying that it's perhaps, as we're seeing in the NBA, you have to wonder how much it could threaten the product on the field. Fans could walk away. It's kind of a meta subject, but with the amount of money that's being made with it, Zach, I don't see it changing.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I read the story earlier about the NBA, they said it's tied to the mafia. I'm like, it's 2025. That's still going on. It's pretty crazy, like a flashback. We don't know though, String Guy. This is all wild speculation, whether it's happening in the NFL. But remember a few years ago when I think it was Arian Foster leaked the script and introduced that terminology to the NFL landscape, suggesting that the games are rigged. Again, not saying it is, but if it ever came out that it was the NFL, I would not be surprised at all.
Lady D jumping in again on Super Chat. Our dear friend, we love you. Thank you so much. She says, I'm hoping the Vikings win tonight, and right now they're down 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz trying to get something cooking. We need to shore up our offense and play 4 full quarters to win the Cowboys game. Go Broncos. I agree with Zach. This should be a breakout game for the Broncos. Looking forward to the game. MHH for life. We love you, Lady D. Thank you so much. If you can't kick open the floodgates against this defense that's averaging over basically 30 points a game, it's allowing, and north of 400 yards, Zach, you're going to really have some splaining to do.
Yeah, and it's like, and first of all, thank you so much, Deanna. Everything you're saying here is spot on that I agree with. I'm not going to kill the Broncos, for example, if they score 39 instead of 40 or 29 instead of 30. It's just they can't be that discombobulated for three quarters. They can't look like they've never practiced their playbook before, like they did against the Giants for three quarters. Sean Payton has to be aggressive, let Bo cook, run the ball, and just be smart near the goal line. If they can do that, Deanna, they'll score points. And I like the Broncos defense if they can get any sort of a lead on Sunday.
The other thing is, we haven't brought it up tonight, but the drops, guys, have to stop. 5 drops against the Giants, and you wonder, well, how come they can't keep a drive going? A lot of them were on third down early in the game. It's like, what do you expect Bo Nix to do? So these are little things, man, that I go back to thinking about the Drew Lock days where everything just seemed hard to come by, right? Everything just seemed so tough. And for some reason, I still have these weird echoes of those days with what's happening right now on offense. George, what is your opinion on the number of sacks our defense will get? So I predicted double what they had last week. And this week, so last week, Zach, the Broncos had, 1, 2.5, 3, 4 total sacks on Jackson Dart, who, by the way, Nick Bonito, singing a whole different tune. So was Jonathan Cooper to an extent about Jackson Dart after that game. They gave him his props. They tipped their cap to him. Even though the Broncos came out on top, they tipped their cap to him. But this, let's see, what was it? He's hard to get to. So Dak, Zach, second fewest sacks surrendered so far. How many sacks do you expect? I'm going to say 5 tomorrow or Sunday. I'm going to say 5. What do you got?
Dak doesn't have the mobility of Jackson Dart, obviously. So, and I know this from covering the Cowboys in recent years. If you keep Dak confined to the pocket, make him hold the football for that one extra tick and speed up his clock, you can pressure him. He will melt down. He'll throw a pick or a sack fumble. He's one of those quarterbacks. If you give him time, he'll slice you up. Quick hitters, that's kind of offense they're going to employ to neutralize the Broncos pass rush. I don't think it's going to be a 5 or 6 sack game. It's my opinion. I do think, though, the Broncos defense will come up big in the fourth quarter with the takeaway because they sped up that clock and made them that much more jittery in the pocket.
I see 4 or 5 sacks. 4 or 5. All right. I'm hedging just a little bit. Whoa, Chris, dude. Going off.
Thank you, Chris.
Going off the chain tonight. Multiple top rope super chats. I think he's got 4, maybe 5 total tonight, dude. Chris, legend. Thank you so much, brother. Really helps us keep the lights on. Phenomenal way to support what we do here and keep this content coming, keep this community healthy and growing. So thank you so much, Chris, dude. Mile high salute. Love you.
Yeah, that is super humbling. And we're so appreciative, Chris, for all the supers that you dropped and just the interaction beyond just the supers, just the conversation that you're igniting with us and having a chance to talk Broncos football. We live for that, and you're making it amazing tonight. Thank you so much.
Chris might find this interesting, Zach. Sean Payton, as you wrote, gave a little bit of a hint. Whether it's smoke or fire, we can discuss here tonight, but he gave a little bit of a hint about the Broncos' kind of posture with the NFL trade deadline coming up in about 2 weeks' time. Break down for folks what he had to say yesterday.
Yeah, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but basically things would have to fall into place for the Broncos to be buyers and not sellers. I don't see them selling off any assets, but right now he likes where the Broncos are. He likes the makeup of the roster. That's the long and the short of it. Now, whether that's coach speak or he's lying or being deceptive, we don't know, Chad. There are rumblings that they're going to be active, at least at wide receiver. According to CBS Sports, the Broncos are perhaps the biggest contender to trade for a wide receiver. There are plenty out there, including 2 Saints right now, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, a speed demon. So that'd be interesting for sure.
And with Greenlaw coming back, I know he's suspended this week, but dude, and again, he didn't play full starter snaps, but he played enough snaps, which is not easy to do, to qualify for a grade last week, an MHH grade via trickle. And were it not for the inspired play of Justin Sternad, Dre Greenlaw would have been Denver's highest graded defensive player in week 7. Linebacker's not a big issue, as big of an issue as it was while he was still injured, and we didn't know what the future, how bad was he injured, was it going to stretch beyond the 4 weeks, etc. And then you look at guard, Zach, after Ben Powers went down, it was easy to point to left guard and go, ooh, maybe that's something the Broncos could look to trade for. After the Matt Pert disaster against the Jets, Alex Palczewski was money last week. In fact, nothing but praise, great grades across different publications out there. And even Sean Payton, let me see if I can find what he said yesterday on Palczewski's first start of the season. Quote, "It was good, really good. He got a game ball. It was impressive," close quote. And what's even more impressive about it, Zach, is that he's going from basically his whole time as a pro playing on the right side of the offensive line to having to then set on the left. So really cool for him. And this is a long-winded way of me kind of coming back to, so if the Broncos were to be buyers, what do they really need right now? There is an argument for wide receiver, but honestly, like even Marvin Mims, when his number was called in the vertical passing game last week, Zach, he answered the bell. When Bo Nix was on target to Marvin Mims in the passing game beyond, say, 8 to 10 yards, he answered the bell. Marvin Mims could be so much more of a receiving weapon for this team.
Agreed.
If the Broncos would just let it happen instead of the way it's felt this season anyway, Zach, trying to kind of force feed / strong arm the quote unquote Troy Franklin ascension.
And how about getting your third round pick involved, Pat Bryant? It's been pretty much a goose egg there. He's been a great blocker, but I'm happy for the Broncos O-line. They get a reprieve this week. They face 3 of the best defensive lines in the NFL in succession in the Eagles, the Jets, and the Giants. The Cowboys are not those teams, so they should be able to have an easier go at left guard. Joel Bitonio from the Browns is an interesting name, Chad, that could be available. The Browns are going to be having a fire sale, but I don't think there need to maybe if Powers was out for the season, I would trade for a left guard, but he's going to be coming back in December. They can weather the storm until then.
Dude, Scott, when did the time thing go back to the left side? Have you noticed that? Chris, brother, off the chain tonight, dude. Off the chain. Thank you for another super chat. He says, I think Bo needs that super speedy receiver, someone he can't overthrow that can be a threat. I hear you. And again, I wouldn't hate if the Broncos brought in some receiver help. But find me a receiver available on the market, Zach, that's faster than Marvin Mims Jr. Like
Shaheed.
But still.
Yeah.
So my point isn't that, hey, I'm not turning up my nose at a receiver like that. And the fact that it's the Saints, Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis, all that stuff, you can't rule it out. But I think, again, it just comes down to this unholy lack of a marriage between and sharing of a brain between the scheme, the play calling, and the execution. It's not just on Sean Payton, guys. The execution, like there have been many big plays left on the field this season because Bo Nix overthrew him. There have been other big plays left on the field because receivers haven't caught the ball. They dropped the pass. So everybody just needs to punch in, and when their number is called, answer the bell.
No, I'm definitely with you. It sounds exciting to add a receiver, but for what? So the Broncos can throw a goal line pass to Garrett Bowles when he's eligible? They don't already use the talent they have now. Why trade a draft pick and not throw to that guy either? It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, man, that got me. Zeus McPeak in the house,
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you.
Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. The very first face that was etched on the MHH Superstar Mount Rushmore, this man right here, Stu McPeak, jumping in on Super Chat saying, "Hi all, sorry I'm late tonight." No worries, brother. What are your thoughts on the Greenlaw suspension, and when will the Broncos do something to improve their tight end coverage? Go Broncos. Love you guys. You know, Zeus, we love you too, big dog. Thank you. The Greenlaw suspension, it should have been, I'm gonna echo Coach Payton and say it should have been a fine. But if it was going to be anything, it should have been a fine. But yeah, when it's the Broncos and the crosshairs, man, the NFL doth pounce. And as far as, I'll let Zach share some of his thoughts because we talked about it earlier in the show, but for you, Zeus, anything, buddy. When will the Broncos do something to improve their tight end coverage? Man, they were close to getting there, and then Greenlaw gets suspended, and they're kind of having to then kick the can down the road again. But the smartest thing they could do would be to sit down Alex Singleton, utilize him more as a hey, Sternad needs a breather. Hey, Dre needs a breather. Kind of in the same way Dre was used last week, with the exception of Dre did start last week. So use Alex as that guy that comes in and out to spot the other two guys. Let it be Dre and Sternad. And, Talanoa Hufanga, Brandon Jones, I was a little worried about him being banged up perhaps for week 8, but he hasn't been on the injury report, so that's good news, Zach. But your thoughts for Zeus?
Yeah, I think the suspension was BS. It shouldn't even been a fine when you consider that he saw his teammate get pushed by a referee after a very emotional game in which the referees were calling questionable penalties against the Broncos all afternoon. So we'll have to live with it for this week. But again, if they want a villain, the Broncos are going to lean into that villain role. Improving the tight end coverage, like Chad said, they had that answer. Finally, you finally get Dre Greenlaw back, and then he's banned for a game. So for this week with Ferguson, I do not want him matched on Alex Singleton or really Sternad for that matter. I would much rather Hufanga or Brandon Jones, like Chad was saying, come down in the box and help out with some coverage. Bracket them.
Brother, so good to see you. And I think a big part of the Greenlaw thing and why perhaps that ref was so not in the mood for a big Broncos celebration and win was the way that final Giants offensive drive kind of unfolded, and you had 2 costly penalties that frankly were just poor judgment calls. Even I'm talking about that 4th down where JFM was flagged for roughing the passer. That was a negligible judgment call, and their judgment was wrong. They erred. And then obviously that Riley Moss on the goal line PI that was on a prayer underthrown. Moss got his head turned around. He was basically getting his freaking head ripped off by the receiver, and they called flag on him. Sean Payton was pissed. He was out on the field, said he regretted being out on the field, but they were not happy with that. A coach is not supposed to do that. You don't see that every day. And so I think that maybe also, unfortunately, fed and helped inform the NFL's decision to drop the hammer on Dre Greenlaw. Colby, brother, thank you. Good to see you. Please beat the Cowboys. Same as the Raiders for me. Please. I won't hear the end of it at work. Let's bow Broncos. All right, dude. I'm still kind of not sure what my official prediction is going to be. I'll reserve that till it's time for me to write it down for the Mile High Roundtable tomorrow. But whoa, we also have the Lady D jumping in again from the top rope.
Appreciate it so much, Deanna.
Family. #family. Thank you, my dear. Really appreciate you. You know this. She says, do you think that they will get an offensive player in a trade? Zach, coach said he will not give up play calling. Go fewer on the sweeps/screens. I'm going to add there. Also, please catch the ball. Too many drop balls. #MHH for life. Zach, your thoughts for the Lady D?
I wish they would just listen to Deanna, or Deanna could coach the team, because it's all common sense and it's all correct. Deanna, thank you so much. Whether they'll get an offensive player at the deadline, it really could only be a wide receiver. And again, as fun as that sounds to acquire someone like Chris Olave, minus the concussion history, they could better utilize, like Chad was saying, the talent they already have. But again, appreciate it so much, Deanna. Thank you.
And I'm glad you brought up too, Lady D, the Sean Payton thing about, no, we're not changing play calling. As much fan outcry as there's been, which I understand, I've been trying to say it. I'll echo even today what Luke wrote in his Keys to Victory. So long as Sean Payton is the head coach, that will not change. He is the play caller, period, end of story. For better or for worse, that's just the way it is. Chris Bell, again, bro. Biggest thing is hands. Got to catch them balls when they're in their hands. Too many drop passes. Yeah, and that's why it's hard to get, especially in this last game, but it's been a theme throughout the season, Zach, and then we'll wind it down here. Too hard on Bo Nix on these type of things because, the guys are waiting until the last second in these games to answer the bell and punch in, so to speak. So come on, man. Let's just take what is given to us out there. Let's not make it harder than it has to be. They have the talent. They have the coaching acumen on offense to be much better than what they're currently ranked. Just go make it happen.
Yeah, Chris, thank you. And I'm sure you've tuned into KK where I've talked about this before. A lot of people like to blame one factor or another as to the Broncos' offensive instability. And it's not just one factor. It's multiple factors. It's coaching, but it's also execution. It's play calling, but it's also technique. It's on the players and it's on Sean Payton as well. You're right, though. Whether it's Troy Franklin, Sutton, or any one of Bo Nix's pass catchers, hang on to the freaking football, please.
All right, guys. Thank you again, Chris. You've been huge tonight, big dog. Bonafide superstar. We got a few messages for you. Then we're going to take one last look at the chat, so don't go anywhere.
Can't believe it's almost been an hour. A tremendous, tremendous episode, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle, Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every podcast, check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so, please drop us a like at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some of that merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important as always, that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
And also for members, tomorrow, Broncos Book Club with the hustle and bustle of the meet and greet officially in the books. It's back on the menu tomorrow, noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. First 2 chapters of Son of Bum by Wade Phillips, who we got to see in the flesh on Sunday, carrying the Lombardi out of the tunnel to celebrate the Super Bowl 50 team. So rad. So guys, I'll see the members tomorrow for that. And then, Zach and I back in the saddle for the gut reaction on Sunday. But a Mile High salute. Tonight has been an amazing night. Huge show of support from everybody. We love you. We thank you. This is a Mile High salute. A special shout out to the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, and members helping us keep the lights on, like Chris Bell, who has been a member also, by the way, for a month. Gotta stick him on them hands. LOL. Thank you, buddy, dude. You've been phenomenal as a member, as a supporter, and tonight going off the chain as a superstar, dude. Thank you. The Ronk also, Papa Bear, Lady D, multiple top rope supers, plus gifting 10 memberships.
Thank you,
we love you. Sue Gibson checking in. Also, she's giving props and thanks to Lady D for the jersey. And Blex throwing down a membership tonight. Thank you, buddy. Tucson Phil, our dear friend Gene, George Fox, David Youngkin, Sam Bam, brother. We probably won't get a chance to talk to you, or in the event we don't anyway, between now and Sunday. Enjoy that game, brother. It's going to be awesome. Yep. Mailman Ossendorf, who we got to kick it with at the meet and greet. Flying Anger Pig was there as well, rocking his profile pic like a boss. Don't ever change it, bro. Let me see. Zeus McPeak, who is an OG superstar. Like, he is the reason we created that phrase, Super Chat Superstar. This man right here in the Mount Rushmore. So Colby as well, Colby C. Collier on Facebook. He dropped the middle C, the triple C for YouTube. Much love and respect, guys. Thank you so much. Again, I'll see you tomorrow at noon Mountain Time, 2 Eastern for Book Club. And then Zach and I, we're back on Sunday. Gut reaction.
Cannot wait for that one. Have a great start to your weekend. We will see you Sunday afternoon. Take care. And as always, go Broncos.